What's up, Lee? What's up?
Man, just happy to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on, talking about you, yourself, your book, Don't Let It Smoke You. For everyone who's going to be consuming this is like the pilot episode of me doing some more formal sit downs with different people, talking about themselves, their lives, and allowing them to, let the world know who they are. Because you wrote the book and you've talked about some of yourself, some of your struggles. You talked about some of the science behind cannabis in your book.
Yep.
But there's so much more about you that I think people need to know, because then that makes the book hit home for them. Like when I told you pre-production, when I was reading the book, I could read it in your voice.
Yeah.
And now we're going to put a voice, a face to this actual book. So before, let's give some thanks to Levette. Let's give some thanks to Tony and Jamila, because not only did they provide a venue for us to conduct this interview, this conversation, but they've also provided years. I mean, you've been out of school 10 years. I've been out 11 years. I mean, that's just 10 years of post-high school mentorship that they didn't have to give us.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure, I feel the same exact way. Like, even, I remember when Tony first came to our classroom, right? He came in his Notre Dame jumpsuit, right? And he came and told us about Career Day, right? And I'm like, yo, who is that? What does he do? He wasn't a sports guy. So, and from there, he's been like a parent the whole way from there, even to this day.
Bro, yeah, like, it's so funny. I can go talk to them about, you have certain stuff where you want some adult parental advice, but you don't want to go to the people in your family because
you don't want them to know.
Yeah, you don't want them to know. You don't want to hear what they got to say about it.
Right.
And they've always been that. Like, I can go over there, call them, Jamila put me on speakerphone, and we'll have like just a conversation about life. And it's helped me through so much stuff, so many different struggles. And I just want to say thank you.
Likewise. And we know it's not going nowhere when we tell them about the little shit that we deal with, the little personal stuff. It's not going nowhere.
Right.
So, thanks for that, for sure.
I want to thank you for making me. Anyway, so let's go back to where our relationship started. I don't even know if you remember this. We played against each other in an all-star basketball game. I was in, I think, the 4th grade, and you were in the 3rd grade. We played at the bottom gym, and
y'all with the Bullets.
No. This was the All-Star. So y'all was just the Cartersville Canes, and we were the Bartow County, whatever.
Oh yeah.
And y'all put us out in the first round. And I was super mad. I was super mad, bro, because I was one of the top scorers in the league. And then we go on the All-Star team, man. Did I take Curtis and Patrick would pass me the ball?
Yeah. You know what? Damn, Lee, you brought back memories when you said that. I don't remember the game. I don't remember who was on the team, but I remember the All-Star teams that we had when we were young. So from there, we would see each other around and just speak and whatever. And then you show up to Cass Middle School my 7th grade year. Yep.
And then from then on, it was teammates.
Yeah. I actually went to Cartersville first, right? I always wanted to be a Cane. I don't know if you ever knew that.
I mean, I was shocked to see you at Cass.
Yeah, man. So when I went to Cass, it was I was a little upset about that. I didn't really want to meet nobody, but we ended up meeting each other and a bunch of other people, and it's been cool from there.
Yeah, man, we had a good time. I mean, not too much about the middle school locker room. I don't remember that because we were kids.
I do.
I just remember you freestyling that one time. Again, you and Patrick was freestyling, and you cut his ass up, and it was just funny because you wasn't like a rapper type, you know what I mean? And we just back on the bus chilling.
I called him Patchhead. I remember. You thought I forgot.
You thought about the tattoo. Yeah. But shout out to Skrilla, man. That's my guy.
Shout out to Skrilla. That's a fact.
But then in high school, bro, we had fun, especially my senior year, your junior year. You were playing free safety. I was playing corner, and it got to probably about game 3, and the referees are coming up to us before the game. Number 2, number 8.
Can y'all relax?
I've heard about y'all. Can y'all just calm down?
Yeah, I remember that too. And then we used to joke around because we really wasn't fast.
No,
we wasn't athletic, right? The receivers were way faster than us, and we used to joke around and just talk back and forth. I remember that shit.
Yeah, bro, it'd be like, bro, I don't even know why they just ain't running deep every time. Like, I can't flip my hips this fast and stop it.
Right.
But you were able to be fast enough. You were able to be instinctual enough, and you were able to change. You were able to change your trajectory in life through football. And I know we're not going to sit here and talk about football because you're more than an athlete. Shout out to LeBron.
Shout out to LeBron for that.
You are more than that. But one thing I think that gets missed in so many conversations about athletes are the doors that sports opens up for us. Whether it's young and it's teaching you structure, discipline, team,
hard work, right,
life skills, because then you get to watch how somebody's parents in the booster club and they get to play, and there's somebody else who you know has all the talent in the world, and they're not getting that same opportunity. It teaches you so many of the inadequacies and unfair things that happen in life,
right?
And you get to watch it happen as a child. And I don't even think we take it in as much as we should then, because you're a kid, you don't know.
You don't know it, right?
But then you're grown, and then you go, dang man, I should have got this promotion on this job, or I did what I needed to get this bonus, but they gave it to so and so. Well, I remember so and so got to play middle linebacker. Exactly. He was sorry.
Exactly.
He never looked good in practice, but somehow he played every Friday, or maybe even in college every Saturday. Because what I hear is, if you are a certain star coming in, you got so many stars, you play just because.
Off the rip.
Or if you have the package, right? Like if you got the body, the measurables.
It's the eye test. If you fit the eye, if you got the look, yeah, for sure.
But then we look at the film and we go, this don't add up.
Right.
But talk about some of your experiences going from Cartersville first to Indiana State. What was it like being in Indiana?
Yeah, it was. So I think a lot of people don't know like my story, right? Especially in sports, right? Like we just talked about it. I wasn't the fastest, wasn't the strongest. Like I worked my ass off, man, right? And then after high school, right? I didn't go to no big school, right? Mm-hmm. I went to Indiana State. So from Indiana State, man, I had to find out if I really wanted to play football or not. Like Indiana wasn't shit there, you know what I'm saying? Just a straight boring town. Shout out to Indiana. I like the area, but it wasn't for me. And I realized that soon, so that's why I finished down in Georgia State.
It's funny you say that. You have to figure out if you like football, because growing up, you were seen as a basketball player.
Yep.
And then football started making more sense just because of your body.
Yeah.
The thing about basketball is if you don't have a certain body, you have to be so athletic or be such a dead-eye shooter that if you don't have like an exceptional skill, you just can't be a normal sized person and make basketball work for you.
Yeah.
Where football opens up a few more doors. If you're 5'11", 6 foot, you carry about 170 in high school?
Yeah, about 170. And I'm gonna be honest, a lot of things that I wanted to play basketball. I did, bro, but I seen Richard come out of Cass football. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see anybody come out of Cass basketball. So that had a lot to make, okay, is this possible or is this not possible? You know what I'm saying?
One of the best things about having Richard at Cass was my sophomore year, I played the back end of the season. And I got a few phone calls, got a few letters. It wasn't necessary because nobody was coming to see 5'11", 150 pounds AC. They were coming to see Richard. And if you do something when they're watching,
like,
and you pop, he goes, oh, who is that?
Right.
Let's figure out who he is, what he's doing, because we see something. So that makes sense why you make that work for you in football. And you talk about your work ethic.
Yeah.
And I remember telling people, I was like, no, Tarris, a switch flipped.
Yeah.
And Tarris really started working his ass off.
Yeah.
Because he came in, he was jokey like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And then something changed.
Yeah.
And a lot of our teammates where it just wasn't going to happen for them, whether it was grades, whether it was a lack of focus or lack of talent, right? And you have other people who are just like, bro, this is fun, but it's after this is over, it's over with for me.
Right.
But I remember your switch flipping, and it was like, bro, what's gotten into Tarris? Like, why do you care so much? Like, we're still gonna lose. Where did that care come from, and where did you find your work ethic? Because I watched you work. I watched your body change. I watched your mindset change.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, just so be straight up, man. I had an older brother, right? So my older brother, I remember my parents sitting us down saying, yo, you got two options. Either the military or you got to go to college. But I ain't paying. So I'm like, what the hell? What options is that, right? So I watched my older brother and how he played out. He decided to go to the military. I didn't want to do that, right? So I'm like, let me work my ass off every single day. So I took it personal, man.
It's good to hear that because I think we're getting in a place to where it's harder to apply pressure on people. It's like, oh no, we should let them do what they want to do because, well, we got to worry about their mental health. And it's like, look. I'm not dismissing mental health. I think it's really important to care about mental health.
Yeah.
I talk to a therapist. But I also think it's very important to set standards and apply pressure because a diamond, something we care about, right? Or a pearl, jewels that we care about, they're made from uncomfortable situations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A pearl is made by a piece of sand getting in a clam's mouth, and it's just and it keeps just building up, and now we have this beautiful prized jewel.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so the pressure that your parents applied said, hey, you got two options, which, similar to me, mom was like, I'm expecting you to figure out how to pay for college, and you need to make grades to get somebody to pay for it, or you need to make grades to make something to get somebody to pay for it, right? And that's what I did, and it happened. And it worked, you know what I mean? And so I just think it's so important for parents to apply pressure. So what was it like being the person who cared amongst the many who didn't?
It was, so, you know, when I think about that, I go back to that time. I didn't really know who I was. So I didn't know how to react towards that. So sometimes I hung out with the ones who didn't care as much, right? And sometimes I had my own alone time where I knew I cared as much. I think it really clicked my junior year when I got my first like college little letter. And it wasn't even an offer, man. You know how college
is. They send stuff in the mail.
Yeah, so I got that and it was just it just was serious from there. And I started to look around my environment, my friends, right? What do you guys want to do? What do you guys want to do? And none of them seemed like they wanted to go play anywhere, really. They was just kind of in it just for fun. So I'm like, man, shit, I'm gonna rile these guys up, put us all together, and we're gonna get something going. So that's kind of the approach I took, man. Okay,
so you were big man on campus, right?
I guess you can say that. In high school?
Yeah,
I guess you can say that.
You had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun.
Get the gab, right?
You can say that. You can say that.
Who taught you that?
Honestly, man, it's just from watching people before me. That's who taught me that. Like I say, I just bring back Richard, right? Richard was nice to everybody. Everybody in the school likes Richard, right? In terms of like teachers.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Everybody loves Richard, right? And then you go back to like somebody like Alex Foster, right? Everybody was cool, black, white, Hispanic. Everybody was cool with him, right? So if you watch those people and just steal and grab those from those and kind of put it into you, it told you like what type of person you can be or you should be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just stealing a bunch of good shit from other people and putting it into myself. Like, yeah, that's the gift.
That's the gift. So we're all over the place, but then you get to Georgia State.
Yeah.
And I'm down the street at Morehouse. And it's like, man, look at fate bringing us back together again. Because, like I said, we met young, played sports together. Not to mention, we used to kick it. I used to come pick you up, go to school every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we developed I'll say a very unique relationship in the sense that we were not in each. You had your core circle. I had my core circle, but we always remained tight.
Always.
And like we could flip flop and stuff, and mix crowds and stuff, but we had like our own like special relationship.
Right.
And it resurfaces again in Atlanta. What was it like for you coming back from Indiana and being in Atlanta?
It was home, man. I see my people, right? I got to see you from high school. You and I don't know if you know Kiki Tanner, but she went to Georgia State too, right? And my girlfriend at the time, she was at Georgia State too. So it just felt like I could come home. My parents ain't got to travel 9 hours to come see me play, right? They can come just to Atlanta. So it was cool, man. It was cool, and I made the best out of it, you know?
And I think at Georgia State, you had another switch flip.
Yeah.
Because, I used to always track your production, see how you're doing. And then that last season, you really turned up.
Yeah.
What happened?
It's kind of like all or nothing, man. Just that senior year. Just that senior year, like, give it all I got. Goes back to that work hard, really take every day at a time. That's all I was doing, man. Just trying to be the best I could be, man. Nothing special. Just literally every day at a time, dog. Just trying to be the best I could be.
And you end up parlaying that into an undergraduate degree and a graduate degree. All the while, through most of everything we've talked about, you were fighting a demon of cannabis, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what's kind of talked about in the book. And full disclosure, after reading the book, really after talking to you about the book first, I realized that there was a space in your life that you were struggling with the cannabis. And I'm kicking it with you.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
No idea.
No idea that you were fighting anything with cannabis. Because, I mean, I'm talking about like high school stuff. Like, I remember it got to one point where it just kind of became obvious. But when you talk about back to like middle school.
Yeah.
And then early high school, and I'm like, bro, I used to pick him up on Friday night. We would grab a couple beers out of the refrigerator to make sure ain't nobody know.
Yeah.
Was he high? Damn, he was high? How? Not even, how did you maintain it, and what was it like internally wrestling with it?
Yeah. How did I maintain it, and what was it like internally wrestling with it? So the first question, how did I maintain it? So I started smoking when I was 7th grade, right? That's the first time I smoked, right? Consistently in 8th grade with a few of my friends, right? So I started to learn like who knew I was high and when, right? So when I smelled like it, right, my eyes get red. So I started to learn how to maneuver around that. That's how I maintained smoking, right? As I got through to high school. And I'm completely honest, man. Everybody looks bad on weed, right? Especially growing up, right?
Yeah.
Parents look, it's bad, devil's lettuce, whatever, right? But it didn't make me feel bad.
Okay.
Internally. You mentioned up internals. It didn't make me feel bad. So who's wrong? Who's right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was battling that. I didn't know who I wanted to listen to. So that was a big battle for me internally, because it's like, they say it's wrong, but I feel right.
And you were functional.
I was functional and still getting shit done.
Yeah, because there were so many people who were potheads. Their grades were slipping, producing in sports, you know, they weren't doing well in the part of life, in their parts of life. And it's like, so maybe it's the weed. And I think that, and you talk about in the book, how it got put on certain cultures for their behavior. And it's like, no, two things can be true. People can participate in one thing while participating in another thing. Like, the people who were quote unquote bums that we grew up with, or end up being bums or not being, I shouldn't say bums, people who weren't as aspirational as some of us were, it wasn't because of the weed. No. It was because they lacked aspiration, or they lacked work ethic. Because if we think about where we are right now, the four of us in this room right now, we all worked hard at something when we were younger. And now today, we're still working hard at something that we want to make work for us. We just changed our focus. Maybe we discovered what our true passion is, and that's where we're at. But the actual mindset towards the important stuff hasn't really changed. I'll just say we just got better at it.
I agree.
Look, you know, you talked about 7th grade. You named some characters, you know, Wild, Q, Play. Yeah. Some others.
Yeah. That's my homeboys.
Yeah, we grew up together.
Yeah,
I know some of your homeboys.
That was my homeboys, and you know, I don't want to give their name.
You know people want to know.
Yeah, for sure. People do want to know. Read the book. Buy the book so they could, and then understand, carve out your mind. Like, go back, look at the roster on Google, and look and see. You'll see exactly who it is. You can guess. Yeah.
So those people who you talked about in the book, and because you obviously didn't use their names out of respect for them, and it's your story, not their story. Absolutely. Did you talk to them about that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked, and we laughed, and we talked about some of the stories I'm gonna put in the book, and they actually was enjoyable that I was coming out with this message, man. Bro,
the message is dope. I think the message is so important, especially being from where you're from. Because where you live in Washington, don't let it smoke you. Be responsible with cannabis. You're around people who are responsible. More people who are responsible.
All the time.
But then you come here, And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people here who are responsible with cannabis, but there's a whole nother pocket of people who don't think that you can be responsible with cannabis.
Yeah.
They go, oh, that's bad because it's against the law. But I'm going to take these Vicodins that were prescribed to me because my doctor said this is good for me,
right.
you know. And I think it's important to create education, and you are a familiar face. You're a likable personality. So some people are going to read the book off of the strength of who you are. And maybe they open themselves up and start learning some of the history behind cannabis and the control of cannabis in this country.
Yeah, and that's the hopes. Because no matter, we were just talking about Georgia, no matter what it is, it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's about to become legal here. I think, a matter of fact, like I study this stuff, right? So Governor Kemp, right? He legalized medical use for production and distribution last year in April. So last year around this time, he legalized it, right? Mm-hmm. He started the Medical Cannabis Coalition around November, right? Around November of last year. You got me? And he started ironing out so it was working, right? Mm-hmm. He hired Andrew Turnage. Andrew Turnage legalized tinctures. So like, you know, now you can get like Delta 8, right? Okay. All this stuff coming legal in Georgia first, right? So it's coming, like, and it's coming slowly. I think COVID kind of slowed it down a little bit, but it's making its way towards Georgia legal in all different type of ways.
And honestly, what I think they're gearing up for is the right people to produce it here. Because one of the things that has probably been the most bothersome thing about the legalization of cannabis is that so many of the people who have profited off of cannabis and have lost their freedom because of the distribution and the use of cannabis aren't even going to have a seat at the table to legally sell cannabis because it's so hard. It's so hard to get into cannabis and legally selling it. And it's, let's make it work for us. Let's take what we locked you up for years for. Now we're going to own this, and we're going to sell it to you in a great way. Like, I think that getting it off the street is better for the consumer because you know what you're getting. You can go in there, you can look at, oh, this will make me feel this way,
right? And
you know what product you're getting. But at the same time, it's like we're putting the dope boys out of business, and we're not even letting the dope boys get into the legal business of it.
Yeah, it's both ways. I'm gonna go on a ramble for you, okay?
Oh yeah,
just hear me out. When you go in a dispensary, you go in there, you're gonna ask. They're gonna ask you, do you want sativa, a hybrid, or indica? Right? Okay. That's basic, right? Mm-hmm. Before it gets legalized in Georgia, it's gonna be so deep that you're gonna know which strain is best for you in sex, which strain is best for you in working out. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be that deep. This is what I'm afraid of legalization, right? This is why I get passionate about it. This is why I wrote the damn book. Okay. Because war on drugs. Remember, they locked our people up, right? Mm-hmm. Black, brown, whatever you want to call it, our people, they locked us up, right? Okay, now it's the same thing. This is why I say don't let the shit smoke you. It's the same thing. When it becomes legal in Georgia, I'm watching this shit in Seattle. When it becomes legal in Georgia, let's use Georgia terms, the dispensaries won't be in Buckhead. They won't be in Smyrna. They will be in the hoods. So they will be smoking. They will put it to where, I want to say this in right terms, they're going to put it to where they think people will lack responsibility and make not so smart choices. They're going to put dispensaries in the hood, so they're going to hit your pockets now. So they're still going to try to get you. Do you get what I mean? No, they're not locking you up. They're just going to try to get your pockets. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. As they putting it in candy, they putting it in drinks, they putting it in all in type of patches, all different type of ways that it kind of tailor towards you.
It's just like the liquor stores.
Yeah, exactly.
Same shit. It's
exactly.
And that was one of the biggest takeaways I had at the book, man. Because I'm looking at it, and you were talking about how they're looking to monetize cannabis addiction, and people all the time say, "Oh no, you can't get addicted to weed." Yes, you can.
It's a dependency.
You can get addicted to anything.
Yeah, for sure.
You can be addicted to talking. You can be addicted to sex. You can be addicted
pornography,
to
anything.
Anything that you do on a regular basis. Habits. Your habits are addictions.
Yeah.
But we look at addiction in a negative connotation because it's like, oh, you can't function without this. I know some people who can't function without the gym. I bet if Bam Bam went 2 weeks without going to the gym, he would
We'll
go crazy.
Yeah, but because we look down upon weed,
Right.
And when I was a slave to weed addiction, right? When I was a slave to weed, people would make fun of me because we looked down on it, right?
Right.
But if you were addicted to reading, people would, oh, he's smart. He's smart. It's still addiction, just in different forms.
It's just like people with their coffee every morning. Like I know people who they will not function if they cannot have that cup of coffee.
And they get the headache.
They get that headache. I used to be that. Like I used to drink a pot a day.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I mean, I'm coming out of my lunch break. Man, you got some coffee?
Yeah.
2:00.
Coffee?
Cup. It's hot as hell outside, and I'm still drinking my coffee because I needed that to make me function.
Right.
And then it was just let me get in control of my vices.
Yeah.
And I pick and choose the vices that I'm comfortable with having.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
back to the monetizing of addiction and putting the dispensaries in poor areas.
Putting them in poor areas, they commercializing it, they advertising it. Did you see the Super Bowl commercial? I'm going hard because I'm passionate about this shit. Did you see the Super Bowl commercials? Okay, let's take it away, Super Bowl. Did you see who last fought on Weed Maps? You see the last fight? Who fought?
Jake Paul?
Jake Paul. You see the last fight? It was on Weed Maps.
Yeah,
It was like I don't remember. Anyways, but what I'm saying is that the way they commercialize it, the way they're advertising it on TikTok and all this, like it's gonna hit the youth, right? Who's your favorite NFL player?
Who is my favorite NFL?
Damn that. Let's go NHL.
I don't know nobody.
Okay,
in
baseball.
Let's go Acuna.
Acuna. Okay, I don't know Acuna. Let's go basketball.
Braun.
LeBron get a CBD line, a THC line. Oh, I partnered with Boom Boom Boom. I put it on my elbow or before the game. What do you think the kid's gonna do? They already look up to LeBron.
And I think KD is actually in the cannabis.
Man, they all about to start. You see Viola, Al Harrington? He about to put. They just legalized it in the NBA and NFL.
Yeah.
They all about to put on. But that's what I mean, dog. If you don't know it and don't understand it, it's gonna control you. You gonna have a dependency on it. You get what I'm saying? This year, you will finally see microdosing. Microdosing is little bits of cannabis at a time. You will see LeBron warming up with a gummy in his mouth, a CBD gummy. Nobody gonna know. You think J.R. Smith ain't been doing it anyways? But anyways, nobody gonna know, right?
Yeah.
So, and the kids, they gonna see that and they gonna say, man, I can do it. LeBron do it. I can do it. Matt Ryan do it. And that's what I'm saying, dog. You gotta figure it out.
And the sad thing about that is, and again, you talk about all of this stuff in the book.
Yeah.
Is that you can't you disrupt your natural body functions when you pick up these adult habits as a child. Like, think about sex. And you think about the people who started having sex the earliest, right? You go out on a Friday night, you can go to a party. Party is jumping. You done got all the twerk you wanted all night. You know what I mean? You done got a couple numbers out that thing. But if you don't get no draws after that night is over, you didn't have fun.
Right.
You forgot about the 3 hours of fun you had in the party because you started having sex at 12, 13 years old before your body was old enough and mature enough to understand what sex does to you and compartmentalize it well enough so that you don't feel like you always need it.
Right.
And the same thing has happened with people with drinking. Same thing is happening with cannabis already. But then when you put a face on it, a face that people want to be, mind you, LeBron is 6'8", 6'9", 250 pounds, and most of us will never be LeBron because we can't be that big. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to be like LeBron. I mean, hell, I used to wear a bald head as a kid. I want to be like Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
And I thought me wearing a bald head was going to make me hoop like Michael Jordan, not going out and shooting and working my ass off.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can get high and I can be like LeBron because LeBron can play high.
Yeah.
And not saying that LeBron does, but saying,
Yeah.
Oh, if LeBron, KD, they can play high. Oh, I can definitely play high.
Yep. And that's what's going to end up happening.
And the sad thing about that is, I talk about the Steph Curryfication of the NBA. And you see it in lower levels of basketball. And you see people who want to pull up from Steph range, right? And they don't look at the process that allowed Steph to pull up from Steph range. Mm-hmm. He didn't start shooting from half court on day one. He started by being just a good shooter close, and he expanded his range. And the thing about being a high-functioning cannabis user, a high-functioning drinker, a high-functioning caffeine, whatever it is, being a high-functioning individual, it's the process that allows you to function at a high level. It's not the substance that you use for whatever it's recreation,
right,
or whether it's recovery, all that stuff. It's the process. And so many people miss out on the process. You know, people love game day, but who the hell loves two-a-days?
Yeah, right. But you still gotta get through 2 days to get to game day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you don't do two-a-days the right way, you're gonna be cramping game one.
Yeah.
Hot sun.
Right.
You ain't in shape. You haven't put your body through that. And that's what I loved about the book, man, because I could feel you still struggling with how you want to get your message across, and not in a way that you were incapable of presenting the message, because the message is very, very clear. But it's the actual struggle of this can be used for good.
Yeah.
This also can be bad. I've seen both sides of it.
And who are you?
Who are you?
Where do you fit at?
How do you get there?
Yep. Because I'm an athlete. So me doing more is programmed when I first started. You get what I'm saying? So, and the discipline and the responsibility behind me smoking is different than the average person, because I'm an athlete. You get me? That comes with discipline, like we talked about. Not everybody's like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all that stuff plays into it. You know, you talk to the entrepreneur, right, who wants to build his brand or his facility, right? You can't just use that money on weed, man. You got to learn how to maneuver it. So all that stuff goes along, man. All that stuff goes along.
How do we change the views of cannabis consumption? Because again, we're talking about the struggle of there's a responsible way to do it.
Yeah.
Alcohol is not promoted responsibly. They always will put drink responsibly in the commercial, but what do? They have the pretty girls with the drink. They show you the good time with people in their drinks. And if you're somebody who's drank once or twice, you know the more you drink, the wilder and wilder things get, because people let their guard down. How do we actually promote responsible use of cannabis properly?
I think the legalization right now moving is so scattered that it's just wild what's going on right now, right? I don't believe in anything that's built mass production. Anything that's built big, I don't think it's healthy for you. But I say that to say, I don't think we found that yet. When I hear people talk about people who smoke weed, I hear the stigma, pothead, stoner, all this shit. That's all negative stigmas, right? But there's tons of people who smoke and do what they got to do, right? So I'm actually want to do it myself. I'm gonna do it. So creating that stigma that you can be a professional and do what you want, that's that balance. That's that middle part that people are gonna need to know, you know, and that's what's gonna help you. But it's different towards everybody, man. My brother smokes, right? Me and my brother, we smoke all the time, right? When we feel like it. I would not tell him what my favorite strain is, because it's different for him.
Right.
He's gonna taste it totally different. And that's the same thing when it comes down to weed. It's gonna be different for you than anybody in your family, anybody in your core circle. And that's what you have to know before you decide to let it, you know, maneuver into it or whatever. That's the biggest thing. It's different for you individually. It's not one size fits all. It's so different for you. So.
And I think what a lot of the common man misses is, especially if you talk about people in small town life. I'm pretty sure you've been to some wild parties, and cannabis wasn't the only drug in there.
No.
And everybody in that party is a high functioning individual. And when you operate in those environments, it will change how you feel about the substance, because you understand, I mean, outside of, you know, like crack and meth, I ain't been around nothing like that. But, you know, like party drugs, you realize, oh, if you responsibly consume party drugs, if that's what you're into, personally, I'm not into it. I just drink. That's all I do. But if that's what you're into and you handle it responsibly, you can still go work a 9 to 5 and make 6 figures, make 7 figures, and you can be everything that you want to be.
Right.
But I think it goes back to the rhetoric from the 30s. right? Or what's my man's name who was fighting the
Harry Anslinger.
Yes, Harry Anslinger. Man, let's talk about Harry Anslinger.
Harry Anslinger, yeah. So a lot of people don't know about Harry Anslinger. So Harry Anslinger, he was basically, I'm just gonna go out there as raw as it gets. He was basically a big time racist, right? But he controlled the media, right? So what he did was he said, okay, if I create films, if I'll create stories of blacks and browns being in this devilish light after they use cannabis, then everybody will understand. So that's what he programmed everybody about. This is bad with devil's lettuce, right?
Okay.
One of his comments was reefer makes darkies and something think that they're white, right? All that's like, I mean, it's in the book, right? I know you read it.
Yeah. And the thing about Anslinger is people like him are one of the reasons why I'm so serious about being in the media. Because the media shapes what we consume and how we consume it.
Yep.
And I think it's important to tell stories the right way and not necessarily tell it your way. Because sometimes I want to present information this particular way. And you talk about in your book how you went to write the book with what I felt like a certain end state in mind. But as you were researching and conducting your interviews, you go, oh wow, I didn't think about that. Oh shit, I learned this. So now I'm learning and growing as we're moving forward.
Right.
And I think so often the media wants to be right with their original premise, that they present only the information that makes them right as opposed to telling the true story. Because what Anslinger did is he gave cannabis a bad name for many generations.
Yep.
And then you follow that up with the war on drugs. And it's like, hold on, we're locking people up for what?
Yeah. People still locked up.
And this was at a time where DUI was barely a crime. If you think about the attitude towards DUI before Mothers Against Drunk Driving really got involved. I mean, I've heard stories talking to like my mom, aunts, uncles. You get put over with an open container, they just say, oh yeah, man, just pour it out and going about your way, but we're locking people up for smoking weed.
Yeah. When
it's less harmful than the legal substance that we have.
Yeah. And we're still trying to figure that out now.
We are.
Like as a society, we're still trying to figure it out how and what and what's the regulation around it and where can you smoke in front of school zones. Like all this shit's still trying to get figured out now, so. Yeah.
But I think you are putting yourself in a position to help tell the story the right way. And the fact that you admit that you don't know the answers.
Yeah.
That you're still searching for those answers, but as you get information, you want to present that to people. It's so important because you know there is somebody, a teacher, someone you encountered in Cartersville who likes you, who's only going to read your book because you wrote it, and you're going to open up people's minds who have not been around legal cannabis. They haven't been around a lot of high-functioning cannabis users who they knew to be actual high-functioning cannabis users. And that's going to help them see, oh, this isn't bad. It's only bad if I use it in a way that kind of detracts from who I am.
Right.
So like you say, don't let it smoke you. What does that actually mean?
That means like, don't let your use, and it don't have to be weed, bro. It was just weed for me. Don't let your use stop you from going forward in life in whatever you want to do. Simplest forms. That's what it means. Don't let what you like to do get in your way from moving forward.
And, man, it really, that's so important, Tarris, because we all have things that we deal with.
We all do.
That we struggle with.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important that we don't allow those things to hurt us. You know, you spoke about your brother earlier and the influence that he's had on your life. And I asked him to come here today just so he could be a part of it, just so he could be in the room because, man, I didn't have no big brother, you know what I mean? And no knock to my parents for not having another kid before me or a kid after me, you know, I just lived the only child life. And it's just a different dynamic. And I appreciate people who pay homage to their older brothers because you learn so much from them.
Yeah.
Talk about what it was like having an older brother, you know, Terrence, LaDon, one of my favorite teammates. We used to cut up on the bench. Had a great time.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's been on this platform multiple times. What was it like having him as a big brother? Like, talk about some of the lessons that he taught you.
Yeah. So I know a bunch of people have big brothers. Relationships are weird, man. Growing up with your big brother, especially when y'all close, like 2.5, almost 3 years apart. My brother played sports just like I did. A lot of my, I guess you could say, hard work came from him beating me when I was young. Right? Okay. He used to beat me, and then he would do stuff like, I'm not gonna play until next time. Just practice a little bit, and when you get better, I'll play you. So little things like that. Dog. I used to, work hard as hell. But just having a big brother who kind of took those bullets for you, right? Whether it's in school, whether it's in life, or whether it's at home with mom and dad, So just having him right there, having him go through that for me, made my life so much easier, man. So much easier,
He said you can out-rap.
Oh, nah. I'm gonna tell you a quick story about my brother. He don't even know this, right? So I first moved back, when I moved to Georgia State 2013, right? I went to, my brother, he got back out of the military. He moved close to home too. I remember my brother said, yo, let me borrow your stereo. So I said, okay. I bring home my stereo one day, right? And I lived in, like I said, I went to Atlanta. He lived in Cartersville, right? I would come home every other weekend. The stereo started off in the living room. The stereo moved to the hallway. And next time I'll come home, it moved to his room. Next time I came home, it was in front of, like, AC, he'll wake up out the bed, the stereo's right there. So, and then he's like, yeah, bro, actually right now, check this out. And then he started, so seeing him involved, right? Seeing stuff that he loved also helped me, man, to move forward. Even if it wasn't football, you know what I mean? It helped me move forward and try to figure out what I love.
Bro, I'll tell you, and I probably haven't told him this, seeing him deciding to rap in his late, like be publicly rapping in his late 20s, it's been one of the things that's pushed me to go harder on this media thing because, sometimes we feel like we miss our window.
Yeah.
And if we didn't do it in our late teens, early 20s,
you late.
It's like, it's too late. Let me just work this 9 to 5 and get my wife, get my 2 kids, get my white picket fence and call it a life. And then he goes, oh man, now one of my partners, he's pursuing his creative goals later in life. He's good at it. And he's so damn passionate, like crazy work ethic. Like we talk and it's like, hey, shit, I just left the studio. You know what I mean? Like I struggle working with certain people because they don't have that work ethic. They're not serious about it. They like what this platform gives them, but they don't actually like the process of it. And I go, dang, bro, that's crazy because I struggle working with people because I'm like, hey, bro, let's work. Like, we're going to work. You want to hop on a pod? Here's what we talking about. Like, let's come to play.
Right.
I love to do this. Like, let's push. And then I go, well, if he can start rapping in his late 20s, how come I can't break into media until my late 20s? Media's not even a young person's game, you know what I mean? Like, you can, it's socially acceptable to be 60 and still doing media, you know what I mean? We don't, and granted, rap's young. We don't have 60-year-old rappers yet. But seeing that, I go, that's somebody I know. That's somebody who I rock with. Thank you.
No, I'm glad you said that. And just like what me and you doing right now, there's young guys looking up to just like he was looking up to my brother. Or young guys watching us. Oh, look what they're doing. Hey, he's really doing this. Tarris is really he just wrote a book. It's capable. It don't got nothing to do with sports, but it's capable. You get me?
Right.
So, yeah. It's big.
And what's it like being a young black man? You're 28. Yeah.
28, yeah.
October 18th, right?
Yeah, October 19th.
19th, yeah. Ian's the 18th, you're the 19th,
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
What was it like writing a book? And when you completed the book, I know there was some part of you was like, bro, I wrote a fucking book.
Yeah. So, alright, so this is how it kind of went. So, when I first started to tell people about the book, he was like, okay, yeah, I got you writing a book, right? And then as it started to get, I kind of got offended by these questions. By some of my friends, they used to say, well, how long is it? Like, what you mean, how long? Like I'm stupid or something, okay? And then they would say, well, let me see a picture of the cover, right? They try to, so I started to get a little bit offended by that, I'm gonna be honest. But, and honest, when I was writing it, dog, I was still, dealing with my dependency on, should I smoke? I was smoking sometimes writing it, you know what I'm saying? So all that was going on. But to be honest, Lee, this is my life. And this is a true book. It's not an ebook. Ebook's the fashion right now. Everybody puts ebook and just throw some BS out there from print from years ago. But this is actually, I went and did research on it. You know what I mean? And and it's the true thing, man. So,
you know, you talked about your friends, and that's been one of my biggest struggles with being creative. When you try to present them with something new, it's like, I mean, yeah, I support you, but I don't really know about that.
Right.
And it got to a point to me, it's like, dang, bro, I can't get you to listen to just a 30-minute thing, you know what I mean? Like, you just can't share it, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't got to listen to every episode, bro. Just, like, subscribe, like, just so that you get the download automatically to your phone. You can just delete it out. You ain't got to listen to it. Just, like, help me try to, like, make my dream a reality.
Yeah.
Like, all these extra